Start at the very beginning. So everyone's heard the line, you took a $1,000 loan and turned it into a $60+ million business. So tell us that story, how you got started at the very beginning.
Well, I had a very early and lucky break. I was a diner waitress, and a man walked in and sat at my counter, and he became my first boyfriend. And about 2 years after I met him, he said, "You'd be great at real estate with your personality. Why don't I give you $1,000 to start a real estate company?" He became my 51% partner, and I was his partner. And that's how the whole thing got started. It wasn't even my idea.
And then a few years later, you guys parted ways. Mm-hmm. And that's when you were out on your own, which I think is an interesting turning point because, most new businesses fail, 8 out of 10 or whatever the statistic, in the first couple years. Yeah. And so when you went out on your own, I kind of think that was like do or die there. So what do you think were the keys to the success in those first few years on your own?
I think the most important thing that happened is I started my own business as a result of him marrying my secretary. So I was injured, as any woman would be, and I was the older woman at 30. But I had, again, the lucky break, yet again, right on time, of him giving me an insult as I went out the door, because he said I'd never succeed without him. And I can tell you without any doubt in my mind, without that, I wouldn't have had the fervor to succeed in the way I did. I was out to prove him wrong, basically.
Yeah.
And I didn't care what I had to do, but I knew I was going to make a success of that business on my own. I think the ability to bounce back takes experience. I've gotten really good at it over the years. I wasn't naturally good at bouncing back. No one is. Who likes an insult? Who likes to put your heart and soul into something only to find out it doesn't work out? Who likes to feel foolish, even in their own mirror, about not succeeding at what you pushed hard for and worked so hard for? But I think as a result of experience, you quickly learn that every time you push through a failure, there is always some prize for you on the other side. And so all you have to really do, I feel, to get good at that is to keep doing it. And eventually you become a believer, as I do, because right now when something really knocks me off my feet, I immediately realize there is some opportunity right there that is right around that corner.
One thing you talk about a lot in interviews is listening to your gut and hearing your intuition and just going for it. Is that something you always had, or do you think people can learn to get better at listening to their gut?
I think some people don't have it. What do you think about that? I think intuition is what you can pick up between the lines. It's the gray area of life, okay? Not the facts and the figures or the visual sense, but it's like what happens in your mind, what filter do you have in my mind that you have another voice interpreting for you? That's intuition, right? And so some people are naturally intuitive. Kids are, you could pick it up, and some people aren't. I think if you are naturally intuitive to some degree, you can get really good at it by paying attention. Also paying attention to when you're wrong and how you could have sized that up differently.
A couple people wrote in asking about your transitions. Casey, he's a realtor, and he wanted to know how you went from realtor to then broker to then like one of the biggest brokers, in the country. And then Abby wanted to know, then you did all that and moved into television. So how did you keep transitioning over and over to success to success to success?
Well, it wasn't exactly that way,
Well, that's how it looks to us.
That sure sounds good, yeah. Because you know what? Everybody loves a winner, and everybody notes who's winning and how terrific it is, all right? But I can assure you, I've only known my own life, but anyone that has been hugely successful has as many bad stories between those nice bylines all along the way.
Right.
Tell a good story. I think what you have to do to succeed in different fields and to keep moving forward is to make an honest assessment of what your gifts are. And everybody's got gifts. But you have to think, what are my gifts? And then before you jump off and do something more with it, ask if that's something more. When I sold the Corcoran group, I knew I wanted to continue working and building another business, because I love business. It's fun. It wasn't like I'm getting punished. It was my blast in life. Working the hours you have to work to build a business with the fervor that you need in your heart and in your actions to build a business. What you really give up is quiet time.
Yeah.
Because even when you're in the shower, you're thinking of your to-do list, what you can get done that day. And what you also give up, and I don't think there's a solution to it, it's the way you're wired. You give up the sense that your job is done.
Yeah, amen
That
to
you've
that.
accomplished enough that you're satisfied with the fruits of your labor. I'm never satisfied.
Right.
I can tell you 5 things I need to do rather than what I just got done.
Exactly.
And that's the curse of being aggressive, okay, and being hungry and
Yeah.
being desirous of seeing how far you can go. But can I tell you, it's such a little price to pay, because what you get for being able to actually have the power and the experience of making your dream come true, just like you see in the movies, and with all the same detail. Is such a gift in life, and not one that a lot of people get to realize. And so I would give up so much rather than give up that. That's tremendously satisfying.
Here are my top 6 keys to success from my interview with Barbara Corcoran. Number 1, learn to bounce back. She has bounced back from failure. She's a big believer that behind every failure, there is a new win waiting for you. And she says you'll become a believer too if you just keep pushing past your failures. So the key is to just keep going and not to let one failure get you down. Number 2, listen to your intuition. This is something she's also quoted over and over again about, is that she listens to her gut. And there's been multiple times where she's made decisions in her business and her life that if it didn't feel right, she didn't go for it, and she was proven correct. And there's lots of articles and books and things you can read about how to get in tune with your own intuition. And so she would say, definitely do that. If it is something that can be learned, it's worth the investment. Number 3, lean on your strengths. This is something a lot of successful people talk about, is to get rid of your weaknesses as soon as you can, whether that's to outsource or to partner with someone or to hire as soon as you can people who are good at the things that you're not good at. She also said this is a way to get unstuck. If you're feeling stuck and not motivated, to make a list of all the things you love and all the things you hate, and as quick as you can, get all the things you hate off of your plate, and you'll be re-energized again about your work. Number 4, speaking of work, you've got to love what you do because you're going to have to put in some serious hours. She said, like many other that I've interviewed, that you just can't get around the hard work, the actual hours that you have to put in. How many hours? She described them as endless hours, whatever it took back then and still today to get things done. So if you're gonna have to be putting in that kind of time and effort day after day, you need to love what you're doing, or else you're going to burn out. So find work that you love and learn to love the work that you're doing. Number 5, love people. She has said multiple times that she really loves people. She's interested in people, which is why it's no surprise that she's been so good at sales in her career. But she also talks about her entrepreneurs and her employees and team members as her kids. And she referred to herself as office mom. That shows a lot of love and care for the people that she's working with, which was an obvious key to her success. And lastly, learn to stay grateful. It's hard to tell in such a short video, but sitting down with her, she is so down to earth, so grateful, happy, thankful to be where she is today. And as she said, she wouldn't trade it for the world, even though yes, there were some things that she had to give up. There's, things that you have to exchange in order for that massive level of success. But if you talk to her and listen to her interviews and look at her quotes online, this is a woman who has stayed grounded and stayed grateful, and that was an obvious key to her success. I hope this inspired and encouraged and motivated you today. If it did, you can find more inspiring articles and videos at success.com, and you can watch my full interview with Barbara Corcoran at thepursuit.tv.